Hey man, you ever looking to flatter?
And your aperture.
There's Pine Island.
Still can't do it. You know, I'm wondering if they use some kind of filter or something.
And look, Pine Island's underwater, dude.
Oh, yeah?
No, it's not, but it looks like it. Yeah, it just looks like it's flooded, dude. Wow, look at the wall. All that yellow and blue and...
Oh, it looks like there's a fire going on over there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's looking down the canal. You can see a boat there. That's further down that back side. There's one of the pavilions. You don't even see the beach. Dude, you don't see the beach very well. Let me see if I can just give this a little tweak of a focus here. There we go. You know, you get all the mirroring down below, but the buildings up at the top look perfectly fine, but down by that water's edge, and I swear that this is all being mirrored or magnified, and it gets sucked down into that mirroring zone. Those are the houses that run down the front side, the Gulf side. Wow, look at that mirroring. Sorry about the shake, folks, but yeah, we know the water ain't going into those buildings. So we're actually hoping that we get better visibility a little bit later. Okay, I'm gonna shoot Pine Island from Hernando. Beach Islands. And let's see what's mirroring, what ain't. Wow. Alright, I just want to give my opinion on what I think is occurring on a lot of these things. When you compare these two observations of the same location from the same camera height, and the only thing that changes is really the water, the tide. That might be the only thing that's changed here. But there is some other changes, some other effects that occur, and I believe it's these combinations of effects. Like on this particular day, I got much better visibility. I do have a little bit of distortion. I've got less or basically no mirroring. But what I do have is what I feel is magnification, which does seem to pull things in a little bit, and down just a slight bit on this particular day. But on the prior video, on the 11/22nd, I think it was, or 21st, whatever it was, there was not only mirroring, but there was heavy magnification, more distortion. And what this does is it actually causes the upward refraction. In other words, the mirroring is upward, so it cuts off the lower portion where you can't see it. And it because where you would see this seawall, it's hidden in the mirroring. And where you'd see these people even walking out there, they would be in the mirroring, so you wouldn't see them. It'd be covered up from the mirror. In other words, what's on the surface gets pulled up or ramped up I always like to call it. It's a ramping up effect, which blocks out your lower portion of your line of sight, your view of sight. And then what happens with the background objects farther in the background get magnified and get pulled down. So what's happening is you get like tucking in your shirt. Your pants gets pulled up, your shirt gets tucked in, so things in the farther background gets hidden and pulled downward, or things in the foreground are basically at the visible waterline get pulled upward. In other words, even distortion, on the days that I have heavy distortion, I notice that it will block out part of the bottom because the water itself is being distorted. And when you have something distorted, just like when you take a it's like taking it out of focus. And when you take a light out of focus, what happens? The light actually gets bigger. It expands. And it expands all the way around in 360 degrees. So, again, if you're sitting on a tabletop, then the lower portion, it will look like it's getting cut off, when in fact it really isn't. It's still on the surface. And this is what I see here. I mean, you can literally see the people walking there, right there. A second ago, I could see the ramp or the little observation deck that they have at the Pine Island Beach. You see people here playing with volleyballs. You see people sitting at the picnic tables. You see people walking in the park. Yes, they are a little distorted, but as far as visibility goes, this is really, really good visibility. And, you know, when you even look at the people farther in the background, some of them look actually bigger than the people up closer. Like you see the guy walking in the far back looks bigger than these people that are closer down by the water. Um, Maybe he's a bigger guy. That's possible. But I see how this magnification does cause an issue. And optically, these are the issues that blind us from seeing that Earth is not this, it doesn't have a curvature out there, at least not as far as we can observe. It's an optical illusion of a curvature on certain days, but when you get these days of really good visibility, crisp, clear visibility, you do see a big difference. Now, there is a difference too with the visibility that I've seen, where I've had some of these um, bird racks or beacon lights that I film. On some days, like the Bayport rack will take up my whole screen, and then on other days, it looks very small. So I am looking at it as though these bird racks are being magnified at times, and that's why the visible water line looks like it's at the lower portion of that bird rack, but it goes well beyond it. It actually goes above it, because when I have the clear, beautiful days, I can see stuff well beyond it, and see that the water goes well above the Bayport rack. Now, I'm just skimming across here, um, showing what I would, you know, like if I was at the Pine Island Beach looking back, and there I just went by the, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a quick flash. That was a flash of the of the of a cell phone tower, I believe. I'm not sure, because the angle that I'm looking at, um, the power plants aren't where you would think that they would be at, because I've changed my location. So you got the parallax that go along with it, and in another portion I will, or in another video, I'm going to bring up the power plants and show you a little different outlook on them. And you know, you can see on this particular day, I'm going down the shoreline, showing you all this stuff down the shoreline, and it is within sight. It is in my line of sight. Why? Because it is much clearer day. So I'm seeing all these little, what appears to be islands, but they're little cuts Um, there are some little islands out there, but a lot of these are, some of these are inland. Some of them are out on the shoreline. Um, it's really hard to show it to you or try to even explain it to you on a video where you have really no idea of what I'm looking at. But when I look at my navigation maps, I see that all of this land right here should be impossible for me to see. All this land is what you would call um, basically the Black Swan, because these are all low-lying islands. Nothing's really tall out there. Um, so, how am I actually seeing all these really low um, little swampy areas? Basically, it's impossible for me to see this, but here it is, plain as day, that I'm seeing it from from the Hernando Beach Islands, well past the Pine Island um, Park. Pine Island Park is approximately 4.84 miles. So my tripod's at approximately 5-6 feet, and both observations, um, basically the cameras are at the same height. I mean, there might be a few inches discrepancy between them, but all in all, it's at the same height. All right, well, I hope this might help people or understand how I'm trying to explain this. But basically, there's no curvature out here, folks. All right, I did show some of this in a prior video, and I think I did show this sunset, or this sun departure, as I call it. All right, well, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope maybe this might have explained some things. Maybe it might have confused you. Hopefully not. All right, thanks a lot for watching.